Good afternoon, Stitch Roadies. Thank you for stopping by. This is a channel, as some of you know, is about cross stitch, although I have added a bit of knitting and crafting to it. If you're new, be sure to give us at least a couple of video looks before you press subscribe or decide to go on, because we are a channel that may be a bit much, a bit much. It has been a few days since my last video because I have been totally involved in a quilting project that I finished yesterday. And so kind of, other than I do stitch every evening and first thing in the morning for coffee time, but other than that I just haven't been able to take a break from the quilting project to actually do a floss tube. But here I am, and I have missed you all terribly. Just so you know that I haven't been totally lackadaisical about cross stitch, I have a finish. I've gotten a few stars. I had to go down to Salem for the quilt class that I was involved in, and for G and I, that meant that we did do a bit of shopping, antiquing on the way, and we love kind of tire kicking through antique shops. We just we both love to do it, and we always find a gem here or there. So I'm going to show you what I got. This previously in another antique adventure, I got a bag with some couple buttons, some old what is that called? You know, the stretchy stuff. I don't know why I cannot remember the simplest things some days. Well, I am kind of tired today. Yeah, and I was going to make myself a cup of coffee, but G heard me and said, you know, it might be a little late to be drinking any coffee. But in this bag of just stuff, stitching stuff, was a little pin cushion, and it was this little wool pin cushion, and it had a velvet, the pin cushion where you stick the pins was a velvet with some kind of sawdust in it, and it was totally disintegrating. So I took that out and threw it away, and I found a wood ball that wood. I am tired. That would make an awful pincushion. But a wool ball, and stuffed it down in there, and it held, and I've been using it like a pincushion with my sewing machine. Isn't that sweet? That's so sweet. And I don't know about you, but I love making pincushions, using pincushions. I have them all over the house. That doesn't keep me from losing a needle or two. Yeah, it still happens. But I saw on Kindred Stitcher that she had shown one of these pincushions that she had found, and it's like a rocking chair, and it has a spool holder. Isn't that the sweetest thing? And so when we were down in Canby, we were on our way to Salem, and we stopped in Canby at an antique mall there. I found this, and I'm going to reupholster. Yes, I am going to do some upholstering, because I really want this cushion to be with some blackbird fabric that I have. But I have to say, the person who made this is quite the upholsterer, because this, I mean, the fabric comes all the way around the bottom. So we'll see how well I can upholster. We'll see how well I can do that, and when I do, I'll show it to you. But isn't that the sweetest thing? And it rocks. Also, we've stopped twice, because this was a 2-day quilting class. So last Saturday was the class. I had a lot of pre-sewing decisions to be made for that class, and then I had intensive sewing before the second class, which was on Wednesday. So we had gone through Aurora twice and stopped at different antique shops there, and I picked up, I just thought this would make a cute pincushion. It's a Rockdale Union stoneware, and it looks like from Cambridge, Wisconsin, I think. But look at, it's like a crock. And I thought it would make a really cool, it would make like an Ort container, or I could make a pincushion out of it. I haven't decided, but I just thought it was really cute. And I do collect crockery. Not anymore, but I have a few pieces around the house. The other thing that I do collect are, I think they're called flower frogs. Ribbit, ribbit. But I found this one, and I just loved the color. Now, you might wonder, do I really use these for flowers? I have not. I will show you what I use them for, but isn't that gorgeous? It's like an amber color. And I hadn't seen that color before, but what I do, and I'll show you a couple of them, is that I found this old dish, and then it has a clear colored frog, glass frog, flower frog in there. And then I put my seam ripper, a pen, my scissors, and it sits in this nice little dish. I also, let me reach over here, have this wonderful mug that was gifted to me, and I had this green frog, and so I just set it there. It fit perfectly, and seam ripper, scissors, you know, and I have them kind of strategically placed around my sewing room, around the house, and I just had never seen that color. And I know I have a couple of clear ones, and some are flat and some are wider, but this one was awesome. So I picked that up. So it was a fun antiquing day. We had a fun time. The other thing I've been doing is knitting. Yes, I had been instructed in knitting by one of my girlfriends in my quilt group. Let's see, there's about 4 of them, maybe 3 of them in the quilt group that knit. And so I had previously been given a remedial knitting class a couple of times by one friend, and I think she just threw in the towel. But a week ago, when another one of my knitting friends came up for a visit, I asked her, she has been a long time quilting friend of mine, and she's an amazing knitter, and we both are Arnie and Carlos fans. If you've never seen the YouTube channel Arnie and Carlos, they're just fun to watch, even if you're not a knitter. They were fashion designers who then morphed into knitting, and their knitting is unbelievable. And so she even knitted me a Christmas ornament that looks like one of those Norwegian sweaters. So I brought out the knitting project that I had from 2003, you know. I told you this already. And I have been working on this. It's like a scarf. And I got all the way around to that little circle again. So now I'm putting it down until my quilt group gets together later in April, and I get instructions for the next thing. Well, at one of the antique stores, they actually had, it was like a home decor kind of shop, and so they had new things and old things. Boy, it was really, I mean, some people just have such a knack for display, and this shop was just adorable. But tucked back in were these knitting kits with everything you need to knit your own cactus. Knitting needles, yarn needle, stuffing, pot, flower, and pattern. So I bought it, and I'm taking it with me to my quilt group because I want to knit me a cactus. Isn't that fun? I can just see me doing a whole bunch of knitting, So what have I been, oh, before we go on to what I've been up to, I had some Stitchy kindness. Oh, from Terry. Thank you so much, Terry. Thank you for your kindness and your generosity. I mean, this came all the way from Victoria. It's just amazing. It's just amazing. All the way from Victoria, Australia. Yeah, it humbles you when you realize how small the world is and how we are connected, even though we're on opposite sides of this globe. You know, we think we go about living our lives and doing what we want to do, and it's not affecting anybody else. Oh my gosh, so not true, so not true. I was reading an article about how there's towns in Arizona who are now in contentious relationship because of water rights. And I mean, that's so basic. I mean, water rights. It's just so basic. We are very connected. We are very connected no matter where you are in the world. It's that, wasn't there a movie about the beating of a butterfly wing on one side of the earth? Somehow that's sticking in my head. But Terry sent me some sweet things. Look at this. Oh, this little clip is like really very, very useful. But look at this fabric. Isn't that amazing? It's like wild. It's like wild. I can't wait to figure out what I'm going to do on that. And you know, this is the thing about these dyed fabrics like this. I mean, this, if I did it this way, it would be totally different look to the design than if I did it this way. So there's some decision making that has to go on. So I can't wait. That is adorable. And then these sweet buttons. Oh, I had that upside down. Bygone buttons. Vintage. Oh, how cool is this? Vintage and recycled buttons. so cool. I'm all about upcycling, recycling, hence flower frogs. And then this is a stand for a finish in a hoop. And it's made in Australia. And it's this wood stand. I see you. This wood stand that is, do I see you over there? That the hoop fits like, oh, here. Oh, this one is a plastic hoop. It's different. But yeah, so that I'm anxious to try that because I have some finishes. I have I think a coffee stitch that's going to finish in a hoop, so I'm excited to try that. Now, as far as what I have been cross stitching, I have a finish. This is the sampling #1, and it came with see, you see the 2 eggs that have the printed letters on it? It came with that fabric already printed on there. So you make 2 eggs. You make kind of 2, they're like a stuffed flat fold. So you make 2 out of these fabrics, and then the stitched fabric is, you know, you're stitching and make that center egg. And I wanted to get these done before Easter, which has happened. So I have a finish. Now I have to make it into a fully finished. So there it is. It's all done with my acorns and thread needle minder. But isn't that sweet? So now I have the task of fully finishing these eggs. So it was kind of fun to have a finish. I've been somewhat of a compulsive stitcher. You know, some people call them monogamous stitchers. That's not me. I'm not really monogamous because I don't stitch just one project till it's done. But I do end up sometimes with stitches that it's like, have you ever had a dog that had one of those rawhide bones and they just can't put it down, and they've chewed it till it's just a slimy mess, and they're just hauling it everywhere with them? Not that I'm drooling on my cross stitch, but I am a compulsive stitcher. And so in the evening, when G and I are watching television, which has been quite marginal lately, I've been stitching on the release that came out at Market, Hive Rules. I just am, I think it's because each thing has, it's kind of like a Quaker, so these motifs, or each page feels like a finish. I've been having fun with it. I have been having fun with it. And so here's how far I've gotten. I really was happy when I read the Mind Your Own Beeswax. I just love that. I mean, it's just so adorable. It's such an adorable stitch. My needle minders are all grabbing onto each other. So I know that in the evenings this is going to be the go-to stitch. And the way I've been stitching this, which I cannot say enough about Trina at Cotton Harvest Quilt Shop. She sent me this Morgan hoop. It's a locking Morgan hoop. I'm telling you, it's my absolute favorite hoop. And she sells all sizes of these. She's in Canada, Ontario, Canada, and she sells all of the Cosmo threads. So the reason I like it, and I have all kinds of hoops. I have wood hoops, I have lap stands. They're all wonderful. This is like, makes me crazy happy. And part of it is that I can lock the fabric in at just the right tension, because I tend to push up with my finger, you know, because I do a lot of the sewing method, and I can get the tension of the fabric exactly like I wanted. And yet this hoop is so lightweight that there is no weight on my hand, my thumb, my wrist, my shoulder. There's none of that because I use a stitching pillow in my lap, and so I'm resting my hand on the stitching pillow. And this thing is so lightweight and so perfect that I have been moving it from project to project as I've been stitching, because I really like it. Let me think about what else we've got going on here. My star program is, I can't tell you. I am getting stars left and right. I'm getting stars all over the place. And another of my whips got a star that hadn't been touched so far in 2022. And that is, I took her out, Teresa Kogut's Land That I Love. I just, you know, I love this, and in my mind I think it's my pandemic that is rolled on my eland frame. And so I didn't want to take that off to put this on. You know, you make up all these kinds of things in your mind that give you obstacles to your stitching. And I thought, I'm going to just use my Morgan hoop on this and see how it works. And I'm just moving the Morgan hoop around. I love it. And so here is my Land That I Love. And I've been working on that corner with the motifs and the flowers. For those of you that have been here a while, you knew I did that whole outside edging and did the happy dance when it met up. And so now that I've dragged this back out, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna keep giving it some love every so often. And I have it stored. I totally, you know, this project bag is by Goose. And the thing that I love, Denise does a fabulous project bag. But what I love about her project bags is that you get the choice of adding this little like a snippety, except for this one has a snap and it has felt so that you have a spot for your needle, and then this warm fuzz, this nice fuzzy thing holds your thread, you see. It holds your thread. And so the thread that you're working on can stay there rather than constantly putting it back in the bag. Because some motifs, you know, you're using the same thread for miles, and I just love that you have that option when you buy her bags to get that little book, and I'll put that in the drop-down box, the Goose. So now comes this exciting part to the floss tube. I have to tell you, I had a group of Stitchy friends that came over, and it must have, you know, that whole quilting project, it took me, I mean, it was so preoccupying my brain that I don't think I've done a floss tube since I had the Beehive Cluckers here. And we had a new member, Susan Standley, and she came with Becca, SamBrie Stitches, and then Janine from Acorns and Threads, and Audrey from Stitchy Witch 42, and Heather from Punky Purl. But what was, I mean, it's such a nice, relaxing group because everyone there, or everyone that was here, you know, you're there for the love of stitching, and they're all kind people. There's no, nothing that's like worrisome. It's just good, fun stitching. Enabling, yes. And we all do other types of crafts, so it's, and I know I've shown you this before, but Audrey made this little needle book, and this pulls out and holds, you know, a couple pins. It's just so beautiful. It says embroidery book for 1900. I think that was the 1900s. Audrey's not that old, though. I don't think she's that old. But what was amazing in this particular gathering was that Becca from SamBrie Stitches was brave. And you have to really appreciate when someone steps out of their comfort zone and they're brave. And she started designing some cross-stitch charts, and they are all adorable. But she brought to the group her latest design that hasn't been stitched yet, with the idea of what do you think? She brought it to the group. Look at what I've done. I think I like it. She was brave, and that design is a winner. I'm telling you, it's a winner. I cannot wait to stitch that design. And I love seeing, you know, it's like when I, on the Quilt Roadies channel, when I went to, did a video of a quilt shop, the Speckled Hen, there was a class going on with younger, you know, teenagers learning to quilt. And it warms my heart because, you know, when you love something so much, you want to pass that passion on. Well, in the cross-stitching world, it's the same thing. You want to know that there's people that are going to carry this craft on, that you're going to be excited about new things coming down the road. And it's so wonderful to see when people make that step and they start doing something maybe outside of their comfort box, but they're doing it anyway. It's kind of like us picking up, oh, that's why Jean at the Addict always says, 56 count, no way. And we're like, no, you know. But I'm thinking, one of these days, I'm going to give it a try because you got to be brave. And Becca has done that. She has put her toe out. She has put her heart out, because when you design something, you put it out into the world, there's potential for rejection. And you have to be willing to be okay with that, and to be doing it for personal reasons, and that's where she's coming from. So why am I going on and on about this? Because we're going to do a giveaway of one of Becca's smalls, her patterns. And the way we're going to do it is I'm going to put her information down below where you can find the smalls. And if you want to get a download, a PDF of one of her patterns to give it a start, and then also be already tuned in to when her next one comes out, because that next one is going to be on my list to stitch. Just put in the comments design, and be sure, as a way to say thank you to Becca for giving a chart away, that you subscribe to her channel. You, I'm not sure how Gumroad, where her, I'll put the information down below, how you get patterns off of there. Not familiar, but maybe there's a way to click on notifications so you know when her next design is out. And we will give away one of her small patterns. And they are adorable. And if you watched her last video, she shows how she finished. She's the queen of finishing. Yeah, she's the queen of finishing. So that'll give you ideas also. So if you want to be part of that giveaway, and you'll get to pick which design you want, because when I draw your name, I will email you which one you want, and then send your email address to Becca so she can send you the link to download that pattern. And I'll put my email where you can send me your email if you're the winner. Okay? I have not heard, I heard from the winner of the bling, but I have not heard from the winner of the sampler. So I'm going to let it roll for another week, and then in the next floss tube we'll be doing a giveaway of that beautiful sampler donated by Leah. It's just so precious. We'll do that if I haven't heard from the winner. Okay, well, thank you. Thank you for hanging in there. I'm a little bit on the tired side, so it wasn't as much organized as I would hope, but it is what it is. And I so appreciate all of you. Kindness. 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 Yeah. Okay, don't forget, you want to subscribe to my channel, you want to subscribe to Becca's channel, and you want to put in the comments the word design. And then you'll be able to tell me which of her designs you want. Sounds good, huh? Thank you for hanging out. Love you guys.